the directed catch. The other thing is that the big eye are the substitute for bluefin as having good meat suitable for sashimi, better than yellowfin, for example. Here's the Atlantic bluefin, which also has had a great amount of fishing on it, and the Western Atlantic stock has lost about 80% of the original spawning stock biomass. When longline fishing started, about 1958, when I first went out on a longliner, within about 10 years, the spawning stock biomass was greatly reduced, and it's now stable, but it's stable at a really low level. There's also an Eastern Atlantic population where there's been massive overfishing and massive underreporting. So this gives you some idea that things that live a long time and things that are valuable are among the really endangered ones. This is the southern bluefin found around here, but the critical thing is it has a restricted spawning area. And if there's intense fishing in this area, the population is reduced very rapidly. So this is a particular problem. I don't remember where they got, oh, this shows the reported catch. And there have been problems with reporting of the catch of this species. There are a lot of unreported catches of both this species and the Mediterranean population of bluefin. You can see it's gone from 100,000 metric tons down to 5,000 or so in a very short time. So using the red list criteria and the length and 3 generation lengths, this shows that this species is critically endangered. Now some people might say, well, there's still lots of them. And there are still a significant number of fishes, but remember, this is a species that spawns in aggregations in a limited time and at a limited temperature range. And they all come up to the surface and spawn, and this is when they're particularly susceptible to fishing pressure. And any normal fishing regime would prevent fishing on reproductive adults, as we will hear again for the Pacific bluefin. Here's what data we had for the Pacific bluefin, but Toshio has better data. You can see it's up and down, and from this data, you can't really come to any conclusion. But more recently, the catch has picked up, and part of it is focused on reproductive population. Okay, so the message is that some tuna species are in bad shape. They're threatened by overexploitation and underregulation. And part of the problem, as Amanda alluded to, is the role of the individual regional fishery management agencies. Some of them have tried pretty hard. ICAT has its, in the Eastern Pacific, has its own scientists. IAT. The RMFO that manages the Eastern Tropical Pacific tunas has its own scientists, whereas other ones rely on government scientists from different agencies. ICAT has recently lowered the quota for bluefin tuna to a level that might allow regrowth of the stock, but it's still, in my opinion, too high to allow a quick or a reasonably quick return to reasonable sized populations. The Indian Ocean Management Agency has done relatively little, and the Indian Ocean ones, the various species there are not as well managed. So the message is long life, high value is danger. Thank you.
Thank you. Is this on? You can hear me. I'll try not to spill anything further. We we've now had an overview from Amanda and from Bruce, and now we're going to get into some specifics. But I hope you're taking notes if you have questions, because we're going to have a lot of time, a good time for question back and forth. So first we're going to hear from Toshio Katsukawa, who's going to talk about the Pacific bluefin. A lot of you may have heard about the Atlantic bluefin, but the Pacific bluefin has received relatively little attention. And our host country here, Korea, has a very key role as a coastal state and a fishing state. And I should slow down. Korea has a key role, so we felt it was very... Okay, slow down. You can't hear me. I can't do anything about that. Huh? Is it being translated?
Maybe your mic's not on.
Can you hear me now? You can hear me across the road. Okay, we've had some general overview. Now we're going to hear two specific stories. And one is about the Pacific bluefin, where there's been relatively little attention. Our host country, Korea, is very important as a coastal state and as a fishing state, not the only country fishing by any means. So we felt it was important to really get in a little more detail, some understanding of the Pacific bluefin story. And then we're going to hear from a representative of the parties to the Nauru Agreement, from Charleston Dye, from Nauru, about the positive changes that are being put in place and what can be done by coastal states to actually help create a future for tuna and tuna fisheries. So I now will call on Toshio, who was wondering when I would finish.
I'll start at the explain of fishing ground. This is Japan, Korea, and here, right now. And this red area is spawning ground of Pacific bluefin. It's only this area. And this pink area is potential spawning ground. So if the condition, temperature or something, it may be possible bluefin to produce these pink areas. But basically, this area is a spawning ground. And there is two spawning grounds, and the main spawning ground is here. And after spawning, the juvenile will migrate this two-way, and here is a very good fishing ground for juvenile. And this is a migration of Pacific bluefin tuna. And this red line indicates migration of immature. Some population migrates to United States and Mexico, then come back to spawn. And blue line indicates a migration route of mature adults. And here is the thick line, thick blue area indicates population distribution with high density. And light blue area is low density areas. And it's, the route is not sure, but there is a Pacific bluefin in southern hemisphere. It's not southern bluefin, but Pacific bluefin. And the Pacific bluefin tuna has not been discussed so much because of the lack of information. But there has been almost no restriction for Pacific bluefin tuna fisheries. No quota, no protected area, and no size limit. Therefore, fishermen can catch as many Pacific bluefin as possible. And this resulted in both growth and recruitment overfishing. And this is the age composition of catch. And age 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So most part of the catch is age 0 individual. And more than 90% of the catch is age 0 and age 1. It's immature individual, weight less than 10 kg. And the catch of these immature fish has been increasing recently in Japan and Mexico and here in Korea. And this is a very serious problem, I think. And international cooperation is necessary. And another problem is Japanese Pathfinder starts to exploit spawning ground. Spawning ground. This is a catch by Japanese Pathfinders at the spawning ground in the Sea of Japan. And Pathfinder starts operate at the spawning ground from 2004. After that, yield increased and declined. And red line indicates average weight. It's also declining. And now it's very rare to catch large individual in this area. So, like within 10 years, the spawning population declined so fast. And this is the same thing happening to southern Brooklyn tuna, I think. And the Japanese government set TSC about 2,000 tons. So here. And this is too high, considered to current population, current yield. So not working. Well, Japanese government now trying to change this situation. And 2 weeks ago, there was a big meeting about passive bluefin tuna management at Tokyo. And Japanese Fisheries Agency explained their plan for management to Japanese fishery, which includes a license and tax report obligation to coastal small-scale fishermen, and TAC for offshore fishermen. But I just mentioned it's too high, and license will be introduced to bluefin tuna aquaculture. It's not enough because there is no plan to protect the spawning ground, and the TAC is too high. But I like to work on this challenge because with this challenge of the country in which the political power of fishing industry is very strong. And again, in order to proceed and persuade Japanese fishermen to follow the rule, international cooperation is key to success. And well, I think immediate action is necessary because passive bluefin fisheries are uncontrolled and unsustainable. So the key point is to protect fishing ground from past savings. And traditionally, Japanese coastal fishermen caught passive bluefin using trap net. And in Edo era, there's a lot of fish caught as trap net. But nowadays, this trap net is almost disappeared because stock level is low. So again, this is the same problem. Stock level is low from the original level, but we don't know how high the original level is worth. But this don't necessarily mean, this is not mean that the risk of biological extinction is immediate. Because main spawning ground is located at Okinawa area. It's not exploited by crusaders, and yield is more than 10,000 tons per year. And it's fluctuates, but quite stable within the last decade. So I do not think risk of biological extinction is immediate, but immediate action is necessary. So I wonder, what can we do for such species? I think red list is not current problem, but we have to do something for sustainable and responsible fisheries for Pacific bluefin. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, Charleston Dye will be speaking about the role of the parties to the Nauru Agreement and solutions that they are finding and implementing for their coastal fisheries. And then after he's done, we'll open it up for some questions. And I hope that all of these speeches and talks will have stimulated you to come up with some really great questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue, and good afternoon to you all. As alluded to by Sue, I am here to, I guess, share with you what we have been doing in our part of the world in terms of tuna management. This is the parties to the Nauru Agreement. Who are we? We are, I guess, from the west is Palau, Micronesia, Federated States of Micronesia, Papua New Guinea, Marshall Islands, Solomons, Kiribati, Tuvalu, and of course Nauru, right in the middle of everyone. So our waters cover an area of 14.3 million square kilometers. And why is the tuna important in the Pacific? For the obvious, it is important for our food security. We depend on the licensing arrangements for government budgets, major cultural significance, and also for development opportunities, because most of our countries do not have any other renewable resources. And why does the PNA matter in skipjack tuna conservation? We have the largest skipjack tuna fishery in the world, as alluded to earlier by Amanda, and we've seen, can dictate the terms of fishing for thousands of fishing boats that come to our shores. There are many objectives of PNA cooperation: to create onshore jobs, to ensure adequate cash flows into households and help meeting Millennium Development Goals, to create stable economies, to foster greater political stability, and to decrease dependence on aid from developed countries' taxpayers. In our experience, developed countries have not fully endorsed our approach. They think that, they continue to think that the tuna caught in our exclusive economic zones are there. They do not think that we, as resource owners, have a right to our own tuna. And we continue to hear misleading statements from developed countries and industry about how the P&A management approach is going to spawn IUU fishing. For 30 years, we have faced this argument. Way before I was born, I think. The difference come out every year in the Western and Central Pacific Fisheries Commission meetings, where the difference between coastal states and fishing states is almost black and white. Yet the world continues to talk about fairness and sustainable development, just as the world leaders were doing in Rio a few months back. There is a fundamental political and economic difference that underlies P&A actions. Small island developing states, or as we like to call ourselves, large aquatic states, we cannot move to another region if the tuna is exhausted in our region, while the rich